Who was the woman behind the smile? For over a century, the image of Aunt Jemima, a black woman with a beaming smile and a bandana, has been synonymous with breakfast. But few know the true story of Nancy Green, the woman who brought Aunt Jemima to life. Her story is a complex tapestry woven from resilience, exploitation, and the enduring legacy of racial stereotypes in America. Nancy Green was born into slavery in Kentucky around 1834. Her early years were marked by the harsh realities of life as an enslaved person, a life filled with unimaginable hardships and relentless toil. Life for Green began under the brutal system of slavery. She, like many others, endured the grueling labor and the constant threat of violence that defined the lives of enslaved African Americans. The exact details of her early life remain shrouded in the mists of time. We know little about her family or the specific conditions she faced. What we do know is that she lived through the tumultuous era of the Civil War. This period was a turning point in American history, a time of great upheaval and change. Emancipation came in 1865, marking a new chapter for Black Americans, but freedom did not erase the scars of oppression. The end of slavery was just the beginning of a long saga for true equality. Green embarked on a new life after the Civil War. She moved to Chicago, a city that was rapidly growing and changing, offering new opportunities and challenges. She worked as a domestic servant for a wealthy family in Chicago. This was a common path for many newly freed Black women who often found employment in domestic service due to limited opportunities elsewhere. Despite the hard work and long hours, these jobs provided a measure of stability and a chance to build a new life. It was during this period that fate intervened, leading Green to an unexpected destiny. Her journey from a Kentucky cabin to the national stage was just beginning, and her story would soon take a remarkable turn. In 1889, two white businessmen, Charles Rutt and Charles Underwood, created a self-rising pancake mix. This was a time when convenience foods were just beginning to make their mark on American households. The idea of a ready-made mix was revolutionary, promising to save time and effort in the kitchen. However, Rutt and Underwood faced a significant challenge: how to market this novel product to a wide audience. They needed a marketing strategy, something that would make their product stand out in a crowded market. The late 1800s and early 1900s were a period of rapid industrialization and urbanization in America. With more people moving to cities and women entering the workforce, there was a growing demand for quick and easy meal solutions. Rutt and Underwood knew they had to tap into this emerging market. Their answer came in the form of a racist caricature, the Mammy archetype. This figure was a familiar and comforting image to many white Americans, representing a nostalgic and idealized version of the antebellum South. The Mammy was depicted as a loyal, happy, and subservient Black woman who took care of her white family's needs with a smile. It was a deeply problematic and offensive stereotype, but it was one that Rutt and Underwood believed would resonate with their target audience. Rutt and Underwood hired Green to embody their creation, Aunt Jemima. She was dressed in a costume that included a bright red dress and a headscarf, a look that would become iconic. Green's portrayal of Aunt Jemima was designed to evoke the image of the Mammy, a figure that many white Americans found comforting and familiar. She debuted at the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. This event, also known as the Chicago World's Fair, was a major cultural and social event, attracting millions of visitors from around the world. It was the perfect stage for introducing Aunt Jemima to a wide audience. Dressed in a bright red dress and a headscarf, Green brought Aunt Jemima to life. She stood at the booth, cooking pancakes and engaging with the crowds. Her presence was magnetic, drawing people in with her warmth and charm. While Aunt Jemima became a household name, Nancy Green's own story remained largely untold. She spent decades traveling the country, portraying Aunt Jemima at fairs, festivals, and grocery stores. Her performances helped to sell millions of boxes of pancake mix. They also cemented the image of Aunt Jemima in the American consciousness. Despite her success as a performer, Green's life was marked by the realities of being a Black woman In a society rife with racism and segregation, she never saw any significant financial rewards for her work. The creators of Aunt Jemima profited immensely from her likeness and labor. As decades passed, the Aunt Jemima brand continued to thrive, but its legacy became increasingly problematic. The image, rooted in a history of slavery and segregation, drew criticism for perpetuating harmful stereotypes about black women. Critics argued that Aunt Jemima reinforced the notion of black women as domestic servants, happy to serve white families. For years, activists and scholars called for the retirement of Aunt Jemima. In 2020, in the wake of nationwide protests against racial injustice, the Quaker Oats Company, which owned the Aunt Jemima brand, announced a historic decision. They would be retiring the Aunt Jemima image and name. This was a long overdue step toward progress and racial equality. The new name, Pearl Milling Company, was chosen to honor the original mill that produced the brand's pancake mix. They also pledged $5 million to support the black community. Nancy Green died in 1923, long before the controversy surrounding Aunt Jemima reached its peak. Her life and legacy, however, extend far beyond the confines of a brand that has been both celebrated and criticized over the years. Nancy Green was a skilled performer, a captivating storyteller, and a woman of immense talent. Her story deserves to be remembered and honored, not for the caricature she was paid to portray, but for the remarkable woman she was in her own right. Like and subscribe for more stories. Thank you for your support.